What if Tanjiro had Yoriichi's full power as a kid? We all know how cool Yoriichi is. Hell, our channel is literally filled with his escapades and what-ifs. But in all its awesomeness, we miss one very intriguing scenario. How strong was Yoriichi as a kid when he disarmed the swordsman? Well, we won't be able to explore much of it because Koyoharu Sensei didn't give us much to work with. But we can definitely imagine a scenario where Tanjiro achieved Yoriichi's potential as a kid by mastering his father's Hinokami Kagura. The story would start with a young Tanjiro, probably 5 years old, witnessing Tanjiro performing the Hinokami Kagura. This dance strikes a very deep and primal chord in Tanjiro's mind as he sees the image of Yoriichi for the first time. Yoriichi actually speaks to Tanjiro through the inherited memories, asking him if he's up to the task, with Tanjiro just nodding with a blank face. Okay, fourth wall break here. I think in the original story, people couldn't actually speak from the past into the present. It was just a collection of memories some people were able to access. But here we'll take the voice inside Tanjiro's head to be Yoriichi's will, which is concocted by Tanjiro himself by seeing his memories. So yeah, Tanjiro is literally high from the snowy mountain grass. The very next day, Tanjiro perfectly copies the Hinokami Kagura, shocking his parents. As he stops, his body warms up, and as his mother calls to him, he sees not her kind face, but every intricate detail of her anatomy, from blood running through her body to the arrangement of bones in her chest. Everything was crystal clear. Tanjiro notices the shift in Tanjiro's gaze and realizes he too has unlocked what he has been seeing so far in his life: the transparent world. Tanjiro faints with his limp body about to fall. However, he's caught by Tanjiro in a jiffy. Again, Tanjiro having the transparent world and the selfless state is just a hypothesis, which the fans made back in the day when Tanjiro slayed a bear with one axe strike, and also due to the reason that he was born with a demon slayer mark. Tanjiro wakes up in Tanjiro's arms later in the day, and he explains that Tanjiro's going to have a very different life going forward. However, the amount of turmoil that was about to hit his life wasn't even the tip of the iceberg Tanjiro had imagined. Back at the headquarters of the Demon Slayer Corps, Kagaya hastily wakes up and asks his wife to summon Shinjiro quickly. A Kasugai crow summons Shinjiro, and Kagaya explains the vision he just had. The master reveals that the one who's going to end the reign of Muzan has awakened from his slumber. However, he's in grave danger as he's soon going to cross path with a demon he can't defeat. Kagaya getting a vision here does make sense because the Ubuyashiki family has been seeing premonitions in the dreams for centuries. So why wouldn't he see the asset that'll aid the death of Muzan himself? Anyway, continuing with the story. A few days pass, and Tanjiro accompanies his father on a trip to Mount Naragumo so that he could train him to use his transparent world ability and get his emotions in control. However, a tragedy was waiting to happen as Rui, who had just been promoted to Lower Moon 5, was lurking in the valleys. As soon as Tanjiro enters the mountain, his instincts warn him of the underlying danger, yet he follows through. Tanjiro takes a step forward, however his father suddenly pushes him to the side. Tanjiro is confused but soon notices a very thin string where he was about to step. This prompts Tanjiro to look around as he notices the red eyes of Rui peeping through the dark mist. Okay, I've researched this thoroughly, and Rui was 13 when he became a demon and was in his 30s when he encountered Tanjiro, where the latter was 15. And now as the story is taking place, when Tanjiro is 5, Rui here would be somewhere around his 20s and would have been a newly appointed Lower Moon. Now back to the story. Tanjiro gets his axe and rushes towards Rui, instructing Tanjiro to run and save his life. Rui is amused by these efforts, however he gets surprised by Tanjiro's speed, who closes the distance between them and topples his head off his shoulders like I topple the ice cream off of children's skulls. Yeah, I'm a bad person. Anyway, Rui is enraged as he prepares to cut Tanjiro into 1,000 pieces. However, some of his attacks are dodged by him. Meanwhile, Tanjiro is running towards the end of the mountain, where he encounters a tall, dark figure in a white robe. The man asks if he needs help, and Tanjiro explains that his father has been attacked by a demon up the mountain. The tall man in the white robe is revealed to be none other than Shinjiro himself. Do you guys like these reveals? I almost always did them in the previous videos, where 8 out of the 10 times you always knew who the person in question was going to be. However, you'd still watch till the end to find out if there's an off chance you'd be surprised. Shinjiro rushes up the mountain as Tanjiro once again accesses the transparent world and looks at the anatomy of Shinjiro, who's almost inhumane by regular standards, someone who even surpassed his father Tanjiro physically. Shinjiro arrives to find Tanjiro in bad shape, as one of his legs had already been severed. Shinjiro tries to save Tanjiro, however, he screams as he sees Tanjiro running towards him. Tanjiro thinks that Tanjiro might get killed if he comes close, and all his sacrifice would be for nothing at the end. Finally, it's up to Shinjiro to save both the father and the son, but he sees Rui releasing a thread to cut down Tanjiro. Shinjiro realizes that Tanjiro is too far away, even for him to reach. With no time in hand, he throws his sword towards the string, which deflects it. However, it breaks the sword into two pieces. Rui, who had anticipated the deflection, regains control of the string, and it continues on its path to cut Tanjiro down once and for all. With death at his door, Tanjiro taps into his newly awakened power and dodges the string with a speed even greater than that of both Tanjiro and Shinjiro. He bounces off of a tree and goes towards Shinjiro's sword that has been cut in half. While mid-air, Tanjiro catches the sword and lands right in front of Rui. Looking at the muscles of Rui, Tanjiro anticipates the coming attacks and dodges them swiftly. And as a final testament to his newfound strength, he beheads Rui with the broken sword, proving to the world that Yoriichi, in fact, had been reincarnated in him. Now, this here seems like a very big feat, because all of this would have happened in mere seconds. However, this fight had very low stakes, as all three of them would have survived nonetheless, because Shinjiro was there. And for the people who are doubting me, please go read Rengoku Shinden. Now, spoilers ahead for the Rengoku Shinden. It is actually the story of how Rengoku became a Hashira. In this story, Rengoku kills Lower Moon 2 Haido, who's a gun-wielding demon and actually has a history with the Rengoku clan. Several years ago, right after Rengoku's mother's death, his father was drunk hunting demons. And when he found Haido, he practically toyed with him and gave him PTSD. So in this situation, taking care of Rui would be easy work for Shinjiro. Anyways, let's get back to the story. Now, with Tanjiro being crippled, his death is practically guaranteed, as he was not too strong to begin with. So he will unfortunately die here. Meanwhile, back at Mount Kumotori, a bigger tragedy unfolds. Tanjiro's mother and Nezuko are killed off by Muzan, who stumbles upon them earlier than expected in search of the blue spider lily. This time around, a 5-year-old Tanjiro buries both his father, mother, and sister when he gets back to Mount Kumotori. Shinjiro decides to take Tanjiro in under his wing and train him alongside Rengoku, as after seeing his skill, he truly believes that he's someone who can bring about an end to Muzan's tyranny. His faith, that has been shattered after the death of Rengoku's mother, is once again restored. Now, right until this point of story, we've concocted a very believable scenario. Going down the line, Tanjiro is probably going to grow up surrounded by the core members, especially Kyojuro and Senjuro. Now, as Tanjiro grows up, there would be ripple effects in the story. Tanjiro would have to say in the induction of all the Hashiras, because, let's face it, he's going to become the youngest ever Hashira in a few years. And we'll get to explore the story of how he interacts and affects each one of them. But that would be in the next video, because we want feedback from you, our dear anime watcher.